microbiome and how it can change in only 2 days of changing your diet from being like a vegan to a carnivore and what happens. And if over time can it diminish it to digest gluten, I don't really care because I'm not going back to that, right? So it doesn't really matter. Oh yeah, there's a collagen. It's a better prebiotic fiber than fiber because you get all the benefit without the bloating. Oh, this is really interesting. Anybody watch the show Alone on the History Channel? Yeah, it's so good. Really, really good. I watch it with my kids. And there was a guy on there who was a vegan for 15 years before he went on the show. He quickly gave up his lifestyle because he knew that was not a sustainable way to live. He needed to worry about shelter. He needed to catch a fish in a day. That's it. He couldn't forage all day for all these, things that weren't even there, like all these weeds and stuff. There's no store to get the vegetables all the time. You want to eat a fish, and the smart ones would boil it and drink the broth, too, for bone broth, right? This picture, I hope I don't offend anybody. I bow hunt, and that's one of the bucks I got, and the boys helped me. We got it out. We do all the dressing ourselves. When I posted it on Instagram, I lost about 2,000 followers in an hour.
Oh, wow.
I deleted it because I didn't want Hallie to get all weirded out about it either. Not that I think she would, but someone said, you should be like the rest of us civilized humans and buy your meat at the store. Okay, I think this is the most humane way. That animal had a beautiful life, and I'm a good shot, so it didn't suffer. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So micronutrients in food. Remember when I showed you the kale, the blueberries, and the steak? Here, look at the chart. You can't beat this. Apples, kale, the things that beat it out are beef and organ meat. Organ meat is the true superfood. If you don't like the organ meat, eat organ meat. They make products for you if you want to. But try sweetbreads. They're neither sweet nor bread, and they're delicious, like little chicken nuggets, okay? They are. But what I like to do with the organ meat, like with liver, you can buy it freshly ground and add that to like a hamburger patty, just like a 4-to-1 ratio. I like to make my chili with it, and chili is nice and spicy. You won't even notice that the liver's in there. It's the true superfood out there. Animal proteins, again, even if you don't like organ meat, we're looking at chicken, pork, eggs, salmon, beef liver. They're all the nutrient-dense foods. Do not feel bad if you don't like broccoli. It is okay if you don't like the low-carb vegetables. Skip them. They're a waste of space. Just beef alone, again, I was telling you, one of the things I use, here's my chili. My kids would like that every night. I kind of recreated upstairs with some spices and stuff. The buffet, I should say. The bioavailability. This is shocking information, my friends. So oysters are filled with zinc. Oysters are super awesome with zinc. But if you pair that, if you eat zinc with black beans, only 30% is absorbed. If you eat oysters with one corn tortilla, you get 0 zinc. Mind blowing. So even if you're eating very healthy, but you have some chips with it or whatever, you're not getting all those nutrients with it. And what's another example is spinach is very high in calcium, but it's all tied up in oxalates. Don't eat the spinach, people. If you have kidney stones, get rid of all the oxalates. That'll be your best tip of the day. What about fats? I'm not saying no fat. This is a mistake people think. But fats don't have the nutrients in it like the protein does, okay, my friends? They have very little, like beef tallow and lard, we're looking at that versus the actual beef. And if you're eating a steak, the steak has enough fat in it, you don't need to add a stick of butter to it, okay? You will reach higher ketones with a stick of butter with it, but that does not mean that you're going to burn fat. It'll probably mean that you're going to gain some. Bulletproof coffee is an example. There's no judging in my life. I just like to teach. Okay, so if anybody's drinking that, I don't care. But bulletproof coffee, there's actually more nutrients in sugar than there is MCT oil. I think that's a waste of money. Sorry if anybody's out there who loves it, but eggs, chew your food, people. Eggs and steak, like steak and eggs would be a much better breakfast, and you're probably going to have the same amount of calories. And drinking your calories can go right through you. They actually affect your blood sugar a lot faster than slowly digesting food. So plant issues. We'll talk a little bit about this. The anti-nutrients in plants. All plants have anti-nutrients. Will you see me eating a little bit of plants, at the dinner? Yes, you will. My vacation is much different than at home. I eat what I can here. But I do think it's important to know that that's not where the nutrients are. The nutrients are in the steak, or the fish, or the chicken. They have these natural pesticides that they don't want you to eat the leaves because that's how they are recreating themselves, okay? They protect themselves. And there are thousands of these components that we're just learning about now. Cabbage has over 49 different types of anti-nutrients alone. Oxalates. The reason that I know a lot of this is my husband suffers terribly with some illnesses that caused him, he needed to get rid of all these oxalates. And he actually had oxalate dumping, okay? And you can either see the crystals coming out of your skin, you might get a sty in your eye. They disrupt normal cell function, and they are the primary cause of kidney stones. Do not blame the red meat for kidney stones. Phytates are found in corn, seeds, beans, nuts, and grains. They prevent mineral absorption, and there's hundreds more, like soy isoflavones and different things like that. Our modern produce. Our modern produce looks nothing like what. Hey, this is a Costco strawberry, my friend. It looks nothing like what it used to. A modern tomato was invented in 1840. Tomatoes are found high in the Andes Mountains and were so bitter nobody would have ever eaten it, and now we make it into ketchup with a lot of sugar. There's no more seasonality. Berries were meant to fatten us up for a long winter. We don't have long winters anymore. The fruit was meant to get us through. Whoa!
It's from your age.
Oh, I have a lot of static. I mean, this humidity is just on my phone. Alrighty, I'll go over here. A watermelon. A wild watermelon was about 2 inches, and it was filled with seeds. Nobody would have ever tried to eat in it. But now when you go to the store and you can buy seedless, right?
Oh, yeah.
Some other wild carrots. A carrot was very distinct. Nobody would have really put it in a soup before, and it was purple and very stringy. But we've changed it to be this beautiful orange carrot that we make carrot cake with. And then corn. Corn was so dry. It was dry like a potato. Nobody would have ever eaten it. But we've changed it, and it only had 4 grams of carbs per 100 grams, and now we have 100 grams or 15 grams for 100 grams. Peach, a wild peach, it was very small. Only 64% of it was edible. Now the peach has 17 grams of carbs versus 1 for our traditional one. I just want you to see, this is what we're doing. This is an actual picture of a wild strawberry in my yard. Tiny. And do you know how long it would take, or get enough to eat? It took a long time to get just a small handful, but now you go to Costco and you have one, the whole handful, And not only that, cotton candy grapes. I don't even know if you buy any other kind. They're double the sugar, and even like the sugar bee, the apple crisp, the honey crisp, all those apples, all this, we're just breeding to be sweeter. They're never less sweet. Never. So prioritizing protein for weight loss. So oxidative priority, this is what our bodies want to do to digest different macronutrients and in the order that they do that. So if you have alcohol, that's oxidative priority number 1. And I think I talk about it later, but exogenous ketones is oxidative priority number 2. Number 3 is carbohydrate. And then protein is primarily to use for muscle and your hair and all of that. And then you have fat, and then you can burn body fat. So you have to go through all 5 of these before you can burn body fat. Make sense? I'm going to talk about it more. So why keto can be so helpful is because you're not going to have the alcohol. You're not going to waste money on exogenous ketones. You're not going to waste space with the carbohydrate. You're going to prioritize protein to keep your muscle mass. And you're going to, what is your goal? If you're trying to lose weight, you're going to dial that fat down. If you're doing keto for other things like epilepsy, seizures, something like that, my kids, you may be up the fat a bit, okay? And then you're going to lose fat. So dietary fat, the vast majority of fat they have two pathways. One, to be burned as fuel. Does anybody run a marathons here on the ship? No, I don't think so. Or stored in the fat cells, okay? So in reality, most goes to storage, all right? So these are just kilomicrons, and that I'm showing you what's going on. But what happens when we eat? Huge increase of fuel coming into the blood. The body shuts down most of the exogenous production from fuel, which either can be fat from the adipose or glucose from the liver. And then it prioritizes fuels to store, which is the oxidative priority, burning the carbohydrates, protein, fat. Once you're back to that tight fuel, then you can get into that fat flex mode, where you can start burning fat, okay? Overeating due to lack of protein. Your body is really smart. It knows that everything, even your bones, are mineralized protein. If you don't eat enough protein, you're going to be always hungry, okay? There's very strong signals in the gut that tell you that you're full and satisfied. This is the power of protein. If you focus on protein instead of fat and carbs, you're going to cause satiation, which will cause weight loss, and you're fueling your body with the most nutrient-dense food. And you get to eat good stuff. This is my protein-sparing burrito. Everybody try that? Or the protein-sparing bread? It's just egg whites and keto chow. Yeah. And salt, red and salt, of course. So stop chasing ketones and insulin. All right? So if you have a fatty shake, this is what happened. I was speaking at KetoCon, and this doctor, a lot of you probably know, came up to me like, Marie, I did this really cool experiment. I had a fatty shake of MCT oil and heavy cream, and my insulin didn't move at all. And then I had some bacon and eggs, and my insulin went up. Who cares? Right? You know, if you have a tiny rise of insulin, you need that. You need that. This is why type 1s would fade away and die before we created it for them. But where are the nutrients? In the fatty shake? Nope. In the eggs and the ham? Yep. That's where they are. Insulin is not the devil. The body tightly regulates fuel in the body at all times, okay? It tries to keep that supply in tight control. So high levels of glucose, fats, alcohol, or ketones can be dangerous and actually kill you. The transient spikes of insulin because you had some protein should not be feared. That high level of insulin all the time should be feared. I'll teach you that. So glucose alone doesn't tell you the whole story. So most people don't know what their insulin is unless they go to the doctor and get this checked. But it's like a speed on a car versus the RPM. Okay, so the whole OMA-IR is glucose times insulin divided by 405. So let's get in here. Okay, so glucose, let's look at the speedometer. Let's say that your glucose is at 40 miles per hour. Okay, or we'll say for glucose meters, we'll say it's 85. It looks really good. 85, your glucose is 85. But your insulin is pegged. It's at 20. That's a dangerous way to be. But this is what people are measuring is glucose. If you wear a CGM, okay, which I just bless you. Yeah, it keeps your blood sugar. It tells your blood sugar all the time. They're very inaccurate. But then let's look at this. Your glucose is 105, which some people kind of like, oh no, I ate a lot of protein. My numbers are like 105, 110 for my blood sugar. But your insulin's at 2. The OMA-IR is 0.4. This is what you want.
What's normal level for that OMA-IR?
You want it to be under 2. So the last one, where the glucose looked good, but the insulin, the RPMs were just pegged at, and it was 4.5, that's a dangerous place to be. You want it to be under 2. The best way to reverse insulin resistance is to shrink the fat cells. And this is why sometimes vegans are like, I reversed my insulin resistance because they shrunk the fat cells because nothing tastes good. Right? They're always hungry. But if you you reduce the size of those fat cells, because when the fat cells are stuck, and this is the thing, a lot of my clientele right now are very thin Asian women. And it's because they don't have a lot of fat cells. But the ones they have are stuffed full. This is why, like, why can they eat a lot of white rice and, stuff and they don't gain any weight? Gaining weight is a protective mechanism. If you don't gain weight and you're just stuffing those fat cells very full, that's where the danger zone is. I had a type 1 woman that I was working with, and she was 105 pounds, and she said, Maria, I wish I would gain weight when I cheated, because I don't. And everybody thinks I look really healthy, and I'm not. And then I had another client who was so frustrated she would never lose weight. She was already on metformin and insulin, and she was like, I'm just going to get liposuction. That's the worst thing we can do, because now you have less fat cells to stuff. And if you don't change your diet, you're never going to get healthier. And this is the picture. In Hawaii, we have tons of fish, and it's like you could eat a whole pound of ahi, or you can have 3 pats of butter. I'm going to eat the ahi. And the ketones are not the goal, especially if you're using urine strips. It just tells you if you're hydrated, it's not testing your right thing. But the longer you are keto, the lower your numbers will be. My numbers are actually quite low. I've been eating this way for over 25 years, and I run in a fasted state. So if I would test my numbers in the morning, it will show very little, but it's because I'm using my ketones for running, and your body's much more efficient at using them, so your mitochondria is doing that. So if someone tells you to eat 70% fat to be keto, run away. They don't know what they're talking about. Find somebody else to work with. I'm serious. If someone tells you to eat 70% fat in order to be keto, you see this online a lot, right? Yeah. Run away. They are uneducated. Thank you. But that's what you see right now online a lot. Adding mayo to everything and that type of stuff. Yes, it tastes good. Don't use the seed oils. But anyway, a new study on fasting. I get a lot of hate for my protein sparing protocol, but here's the thing. The same people that are giving me hate are saying don't eat anything on the every other day. To me, I'm saying eat at least the amount of protein that you need for your muscle mass and for satiation and all of that, where these people are saying eat nothing. I don't know, that's more extreme to me. I don't get it. But it's showing that the alternate day fasting lost more muscle, the alternate day fasting group lost less body fat, and alternate day fasting did not result in any autophagy or inflammation gene expression. So this is just hammering it home, some more charts on that. A better way would be protein sparing. This is 3.5 months of protein sparing. She totally transformed her life. This is not something you do every day, 2 to 3 days a week. And again, this is showing you eat absolutely nothing, or you have the lean steak. I have a lot of good recipes. Nobody wants to eat a chicken breast, right? Chicken breast and egg whites sound really boring. But when you make my French toast porridge, it tastes delicious, but it's really just egg whites. So just you get more nutrients is more important. How to do protein sparing modified fast? It's 1 to 3 days a week. It's very lean protein. The other days will be your normal keto rate macros, which I have a free calculator. I'll give you the link for that if you want to figure those out to find out your macros. But even if you're eating very nutrient-dense foods, you just want to make sure that you bump up the calories, because it's not a lot of calories, my friends. It's about 800 calories. But when you're eating this way, a lot of people are like, I'm so full. Because you're eating like 10 egg whites. It's a lot of food, But beef, so here's a chart, and I have these in my books, the protein sparing book, but it's showing like the boneless short ribs at the bottom. That would be more of an overfeeding day. The middle things like the T-bone, the sirloin steak, that's more of a regular keto macro. Towards the top, it's the lean tenderloin steak, the beef heart, beef kidney, that type of stuff. Those would be the more protein-sparing meals. Okay, same with chicken breast, that would be protein-sparing. Chicken wings would be an overfeeding day. But this is what I wrote a carnivore book. A lot of people are like, I tried carnivore, I tried to lose weight. I didn't lose any weight, I gained weight. Are you eating ribeye and, you know, a lot of cheese and butter and that type of stuff? That's a great way to gain weight. Carnivore is great for healing. It's not necessarily a great weight loss tool. So who should do protein sparing? I work a lot with gastric bypass patients. It's perfect for them. Instead of doing whey protein shakes that you know, they might not be digesting very well, or that's what the doctors say: eat fat-free cheese and shakes. And I want them to chew their food and not eat fake cheese. You know, patients with insulin resistance or type 2, the best way to reverse insulin resistance: drink the fat cells, and that's what's going to happen. Men and women just trying to speed up weight loss, or bodybuilders, fitness competitors trying to tighten things up. It is not for someone who is lean, or like someone that their primary goal is to win a marathon or something like that. It's not for them. What does protein sparing look like? The food can be very satiating. You know, steak, tenderloin, and eggs. This is a Thanksgiving meatball soup. There's Sorrento fish. There's kung pao meatballs. There's a lot of good things. The one in the corner is my French toast porridge. I even made a cinnamon roll. Amazing. It's good stuff. I have ice cream there. It's good things. I have a couple books out there that focus on, they have meal plans, and they're in different languages if you're interested. But here's just a couple client results. You know, this is my French toast porridge. This is definitely the most curious dish in the Protein Sparing Modified Fast book. It is a French toast porridge. It looks like oatmeal, but it's made from egg whites and almond milk. It tastes just like gourmet popcorn. Maple, cinnamon, poppycock. Maria, you are a genius. And so these are just some of the testimonies of people trying it and using it, and enjoying the food. Ate all protein yesterday, lost 2.6 pounds overnight. And a lot of it is, you know, getting rid of that inflammation, but that's good. But here is from March 15th to June 14th, just really tightening that up, you know. It's just, everybody kind of called it LCHF, low carb, high fat, for a long time, and we're kind of jokingly call it low carb, low fat. If you're looking for the calculator I was mentioning, you can get your macros done. It's totally free. We spent a lot of money on this calculator. You should check it out. It gives you your protein sparing days and your regular keto days. And human design. So ancestral timeline. If you put our changes of our diet into perspective, 50,000 years ago, this is what we were, where we were at, eating the meat that I was talking about, that woolly mammoth we were eating. And we go to 2019. I need to update this. I get it. But this is 10,000 years ago. This is when agriculture and farming begins. This is when we changed the strawberries and tomatoes and all that. That's right, not long ago. Year-round availability of produce, not that long ago. Millions of food additives and to processed foods. This is why when people are like, oh, I wish I could eat normal. I don't think that's normal. This is when this is just modern humans. If you put our entire 2.4 million year history and evolution on a 24-hour clock, we have been eating grains for the last 6 minutes, ultra processed food in the last 4 seconds. Human design, our ancestors ate more meat than any other animal. Remember that. Ancestors were higher apex predators than lions and hyenas. Our intestines are evolved to process primarily meat. Our cecum is so small it can't process fiber. Our stomach pH is more acidic than scavengers and other carnivores. While we are omnivores, we primarily designed to eat animal protein. Remember that. And don't forget to add in your keto chow minerals. I have them packed with me, because if you just jump into this, you're probably going to have very low energy. If you start eliminating some of those carbohydrates, even the broccoli and stuff like that, focus more on your minerals and your salt. Okay? And thank you. That is I do have a free ebook with meal plans if you want to check that out. I don't know if you can, if they get these slides. I hope so. Check out the free meal plan with all that. We have a YouTube cooking. Some people say they really enjoy that. We are introverts, but once in a while we'll turn the TV on or the camera on and do a video. I do have keto trips if you're interested. We're going to Greece later this year. We go to Portugal, Spain, you name it, trips of a lifetime, since you all love to travel. And I do have a couple books out there if you're interested, and different services, and a keto coaching certification program. So that's my presentation, and I did it in the time I was allowed.